Math is weird. I'm not talking about normal math. Like, if you have 2 apples and Susie gives you 2, then how many do you have? That basic math is all fine. I'm talking about math that exists purely to prove itself and to prove obscure concepts. I'm talking like antiderivative level stuff, where you have to find the inverse of the derivative so that if you take the derivative of that equation, you get your current equation. I'm also talking about like trig functions, which those are just gross. It's like, oh boy, guess what is the derivative of sine is? It's cosine, and the derivative of cosine, it's negative sine. And then derivative, that's gross all by itself. Even though I think it's really quite easy. Where you have to use tangent lines of lines, but oh, don't forget tangents are also a trig function. So joke's on you, they're only mostly similar. So basically the tangent of a line is the slope at 1 point. Not the slope between 2 points, but the slope at 1 point. Just in case you're wondering to yourself, wait a second, that doesn't really work. Yep, you're right. And in order to find the slope of something at a point, you gotta use the tangent line, which is basically a line that's just there so that you can do this. The tangent line is a line on another line that only touches that line once. So straight lines are their own tangent lines. Kind of, but not. Since they only have one slope. So, now that some guys decide that tangent lines are a thing that needs to exist, we need a way to find the equation of a tangent line. I know, we just do the derivative of it. How do you find the derivative? You say, I don't remember the long way because it's dumb. It requires a lot of guesswork and checking and stuff, but yeah, that's cool. But here's the equation for the derivative. So if f of x equals x to the p power, then f prime of x, which is another way to say derivative, is equivalent to p of x, px to 2p minus 1. Yep, isn't that just such a pretty equation right away? And that's the most simple it gets. That doesn't even include the dumb multiplying thing that they do when you have 2 functions. Like if you have h of x equals f of x times g of x, then to get the derivative of h of x, you get h prime of x is equivalent to f prime of x times g of x plus g prime of x times f of x. Isn't it just getting prettier by the second? Then you got when you divide 2 equations. That one really starts to make your eyes bleed. So if you got h of x equals f of x divided by g of x, then h prime of x is equivalent to f prime of x times g of x minus g prime of x times f of x, all of that divided by g of x squared. And those are just with real numbers. Like then you start getting to stuff like e and ln, which is natural log, which that is its own thing, and then trig functions, which just all swap around with each other, like sine goes to cosine, cosine to negative sine. And oh yeah, by the way, you know how you're trying to find the tangent line? That's different from this tangent, which is equivalent to sine over cosine. So you can imagine how gross that gets because of what you have to do when you start dividing stuff. Then you also have stuff like cosecant, which is 1 over sine, and secant, which is 1 over cosine. And why aren't those the same thing? I mean, you got sine, cosine, why aren't those the inverses of each other? And then you got secant and cosecant. But nope, it's secant is cosine and cosecant is sine because math. Okay, I'll stop there for now since most people don't even know what I'm talking about.